with. um, well, I think we know what kind of base I've gotten myself into.
DeadHatz. Yes.
Hey everybody, DeadHatz here, and today we are going to talk about killboxes yet again. As many of you know, killboxes are a bit of a plague on Meet Your Maker for a lot of people. Some people do enjoy them, and in my last video I thought that the solution that Behavior introduced was the perfect way to stop the mass production of killboxes, and thus in turn the mass player base won't have to play against them. However, upon reading a lot of the discussions in the comments, and one particular commenter who said something that really made me think was, how do you define a kill box? What is a kill box? I know for some of you it may seem pretty obvious what a kill box is. You know, the idea of a kill box may be something that you've already given some thought about and basically already know what it is. And one thing I really noticed is even if you have your definition of a kill box, look to your right and the person right next to you may disagree with you. Their idea of what a kill box is may be drastically different than what yours is. And just from watching gameplay of the game, talking to people on my stream, which by the way, twitch.tv/DeadHatz it seems that there's actually a lot of different ideas about what a kill box is. So in this video, I'm going to show off three very, very different types of rooms, and all of them some people may classify as a kill box, and in turn this will turn into me kind of showing off that Behavior is going to struggle with balancing kill boxes because it is not a defined thing. It is something the player base made. It's a player base defined term basically. And when it's not made by the dev, it's always going to be harder to balance for the dev. For those of you who've played Dead by Daylight, you should be aware of this when it comes to tunneling, between and camping. Tunneling in Dead by Daylight, for those who don't know, Dead by Daylight is 1 killer versus 4 survivors. Tunneling is basically when the survivors feel that a killer is tunneling one person. They got tunnel vision. And the devs have a lot of struggle basically balancing around this because it is a very disagreed upon term. A lot of people may think something is tunneling, in which another person may think is not actually tunneling. There's no set defined rules, and we're seeing a very similar situation play out in Meet Your Maker with kill boxes. Because of the fact that this isn't a defined term, and instead it's something that people are arguing about on what exactly makes a kill box, it makes it very confusing to see in game, and thus it's probably confusing to balance around it. So right here I'm in a world, and basically I have 3 different rooms set up. Each one is going to represent a different kill box, and I have a keystone light to represent where the gen mat would be. So this first room, here, let me add this to each one. This first room is what I used to consider a kill box until I really give it some thought. Basically, it is a room with no sense of direction. Everything's just kind of placed randomly, and it's all confined in a box. There's lots of enemies in a small condensed space, and you just kind of have to get to the gen mat as quick as you can. The reason I never really thought kill boxes were an issue is because this was my definition. To me, this felt very easy to just kind of push and rush through it. So that's why I never thought, I always thought like, well, kill boxes don't seem like that big of an issue. All you gotta do is just go super fast to the very end of this, because that was my original definition of a kill box. After talking to more people, I now understand that this isn't the case. A lot of people don't think this is what makes a kill box. So now let's move on to example number 2 and see another example of something I've seen called the kill box. Okay, so this one right here is going to be another example of something I've seen labeled as a kill box. Me personally, I never really had it. I never really considered it a kill box, but I know many people do consider this a kill box. So let's go ahead and see example number 2. And obviously this is a much shorter, more condensed version of what you're used to seeing. But you get the gist. You know, they have the death pads here to prevent people from rushing. And then they just got every single wall in the room covered with traps ready to kill. They got the corrosives on the side for people to fall into to try and get to the gen mat. Now obviously this is a shortened version of it, but I think you get the gist of it. If you've played the game enough, you've definitely seen a room like this, especially if you play in brutal like I do. This is something else I've seen labeled as, you know, a kill box. It's a little box, and it's just made to get as much kills as it can because of its impossibility to get through. If you try and destroy these and get through slow, you'll get cooked. And there's different variations of this, but usually it's a one-way path covered with corrosive cubes, and it always has these heated pads to prevent people from rushing, and a different variation of traps or minions on the sides to kill you while you're trying to cross this very narrow, thin line, usually inside of a condensed area. The only thing you won't really see is explosions because it'll destroy all the traps, so they usually put more intricate, precise type killing effects. And these can be problematic. They're very daunting. It's a pain in the ass to get through, and unless you're like getting perfect, frame perfect plays, you're probably going to die like at least 3 times to one of these, unless you're very lucky or very good. But yeah, this is just another example of something I've seen labeled as a kill box. And then this right here is a third variation of something I've seen titled the kill box. Now, I'm not just pulling these out of my ass. I've seen people like post videos of these types of bases on Reddit and call it a kill box, which is where I'm getting the variation from. So usually how this one works is the base will lead you in with a corridor with some traps. And, you know, it's going pretty well. There's some well-placed traps. And the base can either be already really difficult from then on or mediocre. And then suddenly you cut to a large room, and it's got corrosive cubes, so you're stuck on this line here. And then it's got these, what is the name of this trap? It's got a lot of plasma sentinels, basically, and then cannon backs to bomb you. And of course, they're probably going to throw in a couple of pistons just to stop you from rushing. And almost every single one of these plasma sentinels is going to have that AoE effect on them. And this is another example of something I've seen called the kill box, because you enter in and you can't really move to destroy these, you know, without losing a shot, basically. Because usually they'll have lava behind the cannon back, so if you try and shoot at them, you're going to lose all your bullets. And if you try and come up here to kill them, these plasma sentinels got a point blank shot at you to kill you. So this is another example of something that is, it's not unbeatable, but it is tough to get past, and it guarantees killed. And this is just something else I've seen labeled a kill box, even though it has the corridor leading up to it. That's what differentiates this one from the last one a lot, is that corridor. When I think of a kill box, I think of walking into one giant box or one big room with all these different setups in it. But I've seen bases with corridors in them still labeled as a kill box, even though, me personally, it's not a box, it's not a kill box. It's just got a kill box like segment at the end. And those are the 3 variations that I've seen. So let's go ahead and cut back. So what is the issue with what I've just shown here? What exactly am I trying to get at? Well, the thing is, because there's so many different variations of a kill box, it makes the kill box go from a very, hey, we need to cut this out situation to, what exactly do we need to cut out, if you catch my drift. Think of it as this way: if we can't define what we need to help avoid, how are we going to know how to avoid it, and how are the devs going to know how to balance around it? I hope this is making sense. It's making sense in my head. But I feel like this is going to be a problem that, if it's anything like tunneling, which I think is a very similar kind of situation, a player-defined term, it's going to be something that's probably going to haunt the balance of this game for a long time. Unless they find a way to nip it in the bud now, kill boxes are going to be with us for a very long time. And we have to be careful to not cross into the point of limiting builders too much. If we try and put anti-kill box measurements in, if we don't have a definition for what a kill box is, how do we know when we've crossed the line to going from limiting people from making more kill boxes to limiting people in general? And I do think this is a pretty serious topic and discussion that we need to discuss, as since the game is in its very early life cycle, part of its life cycle, and with a DLC on the way, the big expansion coming this June, how are you going to ensure that the future of the game is going to be balanced and fun for everyone? But yeah, just another thought-provoking thing. If you want to put your 2 cents on maybe what you think what a kill box is, or if you think I'm wrong anywhere, let me know in the comments. I'll read them just like I did the last one, and I'll reply, and you may give me another topic to kind of discuss and think about in the future. But alrighty, DeadHatz out. Subscribe, blah blah blah, check out my streams, blah blah blah.
Subscribe to DeadHatz or you'll die tomorrow.